coming back to the flow of control of functions. So in previous slides we saw how to declare a function and call a function within the main function, and later we have to see the execution, that how the flow is there in the program and the certain path about which the execution will start. Then if we have declared a function above this main function with a return type void, so void is basically a return type that we are going to see later, and this is just a function name that we have given, and this is the execution or the operation that has been assigned to that function. And as I've said, that main is the entry point of the program, and the whole execution will start from this main function only. Then the control will flow to the statement first, and this is a function call. So I've previously said that this is the way we call a function. We just write the function name, the brackets, or if there is no parameter then the empty brackets, and then a semicolon. So this is a function call that will invoke this function and will say that perform your task. So the task is to print the hello world. So execution will come to this statement, and in the output window we will see a hello world printed, and later the another execution will go to this line where it will again invoke a function, and the execution will again come to this and it will print hello world again, and later the control will come to this statement, and it would again call this function, and this printf statement is going to be executed. So this is how the flow works. One by one the execution will go on, and each time it will invoke the function in a certain way to perform its operations. Here it is a simple function where we are just using the print value and we are not returning any value, not taking any parameters. So this is just the general and the most simplest function that we can see to understand the basics of function. So here if I say something about the declaration of the function, then first I told you about the syntax, that first there should be a return type keyword. So here it is void, this is the function name, this is the brackets that we have to put, and after declaring it we can either declare it by just putting semicolon, or we can define the function or the operations that the function is expected to perform. So if we need to define that operations, we need to put up a curly braces and define all those lines of code that we need the function to execute whenever we call that function. So here the function is called 3 times. So basically that is the only thing that increases the reusability, because if we had to perform this operation we had to write that printf statement 3 times, right? If we have to print hello world 3 times, okay, instead we defined a function and now we can call that function as many times as we want, and it would definitely reduce the complexity of the code, and it would make it easier and convenient to understand as well as to read. So this is how the flow of control works for the functions. And moving on further to the parameters concept, so this brackets that we see here is basically meant for parameters. If we are not taking any parameters, so we will not be using the convenient utility of parameters. We are just going to see a normal function without any parameters or without any user input, we can say. So this is the function without any parameters, but we have the convenient use for parameters as well, that could make it much more convenient and easier for the user to perform its operations. So basically, as per the definition, the information can be passed to the function as parameters. Parameter can act as a variable inside the function. Like if I have a machine and I need it to do a certain work, and for that work I am assigning it a certain thing. Let us suppose ki if the machine is expected to cook the food, then I am assigning it the food items. Okay, so food items are to be assigned. So basically these food items are known as parameters. Means this machine will cook the food, but for cooking the food it needs all the things that are required for cooking. So for those things that are required to perform a certain operation like cooking, these things are known as parameters. So same as the function concept, if the certain thing has been defined that this thing has to be done, and for these things we need a certain variable or we need a certain value, and that value is passed by the user, then that value can be known as parameters. So further moving on, if we see example for parameterized function. So this was non-parameterized function because we didn't have any parameter here. It is a without any parameter, so we will call it as non-parameterized function. Non-parameterized function. This is non-parameterized and this is parameterized because we have something inside this bracket. We can see something. So because of this, we can say that this is a parameterized constructor, not a parameterized function. So what this is actually, so if we look closely, then we don't have any uh, variable type known as string in C programming languages. So what we need to do is we have a character type variables, and if we are going to make an array of characters, that is going to be known as string in C programming languages. So basically this is if we are taking one character C, one character A, one character R, and if we are going to merge them, these characters, and create an array, then this particular array will be known as a string. In C programming languages, we don't have the provision of declaring a string separately with a separate declaration type. So here the parameter or the input that would be given by the user is a string basically, or we can say a character array with a name. So if we see the flow of control here, then firstly the function has been defined. This is the return type, this is the function name, and this is the parameter that has been passed. And what it does is it will simply print hello and this variable that has been given, like this. Here it is the name, and we are going to print the same name that is passed here. So how we are going to call it? We are just going to give the name, and inside the bracket now we have to give the value, because we have taken a parameter. Okay, and parameter has to be assigned with a value while the calling has been done. So here we are passing a certain character array where the individual characters are L, I, A, and M. So this is basically a character array that is going to. Now here's a catch, that if we are declaring a parameter as character array, and if we passed a value here 10, suppose if we are passing an integer value, then it will throw an error, because we have defined a character array for the parameter utilization, and we are giving it an integer value, so that is going to throw an error. So we need to be very clear that whatever we are declaring, we need to pass that certain or that type of value only. So here also the flow of control will come to the main thing, because this is the entry point. The execution will start from this point. Now this line is getting executed, so the function will take Liam as the character array, and it is going to print hello and then Liam, because that is the parameter that is given, or that is the value that is given inside the name. So it is going to print hello Liam. Okay, so now the execution has been done. Now the control will go to this statement, and same thing, the name will take Jenny as the value, and now it will print hello Jenny. So I'm just writing in a rough way, hello Jenny, right? And why this line is getting changed? Because this is because of this character. This operator or this keyword basically changes the line after each print. And next the function has been called again with the value a and j a. Then now this is going to print hello and the same name a and j. So this is how the control will flow, and now all the calls are been done, and now the main function will terminate. So this is how the parameter constructor parameter function works. It will take a variable with a value while the calling is being done, and it will utilize that value, or like this variable, in somewhere or the other inside that function, and perform the different functionalities as per defined by the user. So further we'll see more and more concepts regarding functions.